Welcome to another episode of the Men of the House podcast. So today is November 2nd, otherwise known as Dia de los Muertos. So we're going to take a little time, remember our family and friends who have brought us to this point. The past 3 years have been a little bit rough. We've lost both of my grandparents, my wife's last living grandparent, another family member, and then I lost a nurse that I used to manage, as well as an aunt and a lady that my wife used to care for. Every once in a while I would take her to doctor's appointments and whatnot, but that's kind of how the past 3 years have gone. So just take a moment to remember them. This wasn't something I celebrated much as a child, just because I think it was more about assimilation. And my mom and that side of the family moved from a very Latino place to a very white place, and so they were kind of like, it was more about assimilating, speaking English. Probably one of the reasons I never learned Spanish, even though my mom did interpreting most of her career. I kind of got shortchanged because she married a white guy. They didn't speak Spanish in the house, and I always say that nobody knew that Mexicans were going to be so popular, and that you almost needed Spanish just as a second language. But anywho, as we've gotten older, you get a little bit closer to your culture and your heritage, and therefore you kind of begin to celebrate things that maybe you didn't celebrate before, or recognize them, or just even take notice. My daughter's school, they do a Dia de los Muertos kind of event every year where they have art. The kids make art. Sometimes they have mariachi bands and a few other things, dancers, vendors, and whatnot, to kind of celebrate that. So, kind of on that note, I also have another nurse that I used to work with, and she is actually on hospice. And so I spent most of the day texting with her yesterday, just kind of catching up, because she ended up with getting sick shortly after I was laid off, and then past 2 years have just kind of been up and down for her. And so, it was kind of nice to get a chance to just chat a little back and forth. We spent 6 years together. That's a lot of work hours. Some good times, some bad times, crazy times, but she's always a good nurse, always happy, never really complained. So I just wished the best for her, and said I would give her a shout out, Victoria, if she happens to listen to this, or somebody she knows listens to it down the road. So, and that's kind of one of the great things about technology, is you don't necessarily have to be at the bedside anymore. You can just shoot a text, you can FaceTime, you can do whatever. But, given the position that she's in on hospice, I was like, well, do you have any words of wisdom? She's just like, just be a good person, which I know you are. So that was refreshing. But besides that, I have not recorded a podcast since 9/11, and partially just been working a lot, doing Uber, many different things going on. I'm trying to kind of set up a space. We have a office space attached to the main bedroom that was once my daughter's bedroom when she was young, but now she's older, and it's kind of a playroom. So I'm trying to make myself a space so I can create a mood, both for myself and anyone who's listening. But so I can have a place that's comfortable for me. I can put my guitars out. There's a TV in here. I can put some music in here. There's some lighting. So, but I'm actually in here now, although it's still very cluttered. So, kind of like my brain. But on top of all that, we've had where my daughter got sick and actually vomited all over myself and her in the bed at like 1:30 in the morning. So that was a bed change, showers for both of us, the whole nine, and staying home with her, and kind of kept me up all night. And then the remainder of the following day, and then the next day threw my schedule all off. And I feel like that's been the month of October. It's just been nuts. It's almost like being drowned. You come up, you get a breath of air, and you're almost drowning again. Because I'm a person who, as flexible as I am, and as much as I don't like, let's say, like a 9 to 5 or something like that, I still kind of like a routine of getting up, maybe going to the gym, and then, coming back. And what I should be doing is working on the podcast and work on that consistency of getting at least one done weekly. But then, go out and Uber for a little bit, and then pick up my daughter if I need to, and or come home, help with math, homework, etc. That's kind of how I like my routine to go. But with a sick child, some sick days, it's really kind of hard to factor in. You just kind of got to wing it, and your routine has to suffer. But on top of that, being an Uber driver, another painstakingly topic is my car. Having car issues. I had it in the shop in July, around the first episode release, and didn't have any problems. And then it kind of started having a few problems, like it was having back in July, and couldn't be replicated. But then I had one headlight go out. A week later, another headlight go out. I had low tires, and it wasn't due to weather change. I actually ended up with looked like a shingle tack in one of my tires. And then a week later, same side, but the front tire, small hole that had to be plugged as well. So, and I actually haven't really delivered in probably about 2 weeks, because when I went to get my car inspected so I could get the inspection sticker, because Uber requires all that, as well as being a lawful citizen, found that I had an oil leak. So, and the first little cold snap we got here in Texas, my heater didn't work. So, it went to the shop on Tuesday, and now it's going to be another $1,300 to fix it, which is crazy. But, I'd love to just trade it in, but I'm not in a position to. But I'm sure even on a trade-in, they would give me $1,300 less if that's what it costs to repair, of course. So, it's worth nothing if it's broken. So it's kind of like, because I'm not going to get a new car at the moment, it's just better to fix it. So, but, like I said too, as ironic as it is, I do not like 9 to 5 jobs. I don't know that I'll ever go back to one. But, it got me to thinking too. It's like, kind of with these jobs, they all like have these categories, and, there's a certain pay range, and it's like, it kind of just automatically fits you into this slot. Like, hey, this is all this will ever be. So it's almost as if, like, as long as you're doing this, don't think of anything else. Don't think of anything better. You know, if you want to make six figures, you know, then it's out of the question, because maybe this job will never allow that to happen because their range is 40,000 to 50,000. But it's kind of like those 9 to 5 jobs. They just put you in this category, and that's where you'll be. And maybe that's something that I'm starting to realize that I dislike, or that's unattractive to me. Another little venture I've set off on since starting the podcast, something I really didn't want to do but did it anyway, which was open up a TikTok account. Just the idea that it's one of the most popular and most viewed platforms, being able to even just get a logo or something out there. Maybe somebody would scroll across it and be led to the podcast. So, but man, you want to talk about a time suck? Jeez Louise. I feel like half the things you scroll through are girls with curling irons, applying makeup, getting ready. It's like, I haven't spent a lot of time enough on there to possibly have an algorithm, but how in the hell did waiting on women to get ready end up as my algorithm? I've spent my whole life, been with the same woman for 17 years, 3 daughters. I couldn't tell you the amount of time I've spent waiting for people to be ready. So, yeah. What a time suck. There are a few interesting things. Every once in a while you can see someone getting a tattoo, or someone playing guitar. Definitely into that kind of stuff. Maybe someone drawing. Possibly someone cooking. But half the time it's... I don't know. I kind of don't understand it. Don't really understand what it's about. But it is what it is. It's out there. The Men of the House podcast on TikTok. You can follow it if you wish. It's kind of just a crossover of some things of the Instagram page, or my Instagram page, which is JaHippie512, because I used to work at a place called The Hippie. So, let's see here. Go over some of the things I write as I'm out Ubering. I'll type them into my iPhone. Ideas, things I'm thinking about. I actually had a delivery, and it told me that I needed to make a ride on memory lane, but I forgot. I actually passed it up. So it's part joke, part true. It's also not too long ago, right before gas went down. Gas was kind of going down. You'd have like a good weekend. And man, I pulled in to get gas at this place, and it was so packed, so you kind of got to pick a spot that your tank is on where the traffic's all going one way, so it's a even Steven flow circle kind of a thing. And man, I pulled behind this guy, and he fills up his car, and then as soon as he's done filling up his car, goes to his trunk and gets out 2 gas cans. I'm like, holy cow. So yeah, that was a bit of a wait. Let's see. Here's another one. We were actually up at a mall, and my daughter's a huge fan of these plushies, and they have a whole plushie store, and you're just in there looking, and my wife was showing my daughter something, and of course the person's like, oh, well, this is the time to buy it because it's like a limited edition. Like, it's a unicorn cake, and this is the only time you can get it. And I'm like, holy cow, what is this, like a plushie expert? I mean, yeah. I guess if you work there, then you would need to know everything about your business, but sometimes I think people take some of these things too serious. Let's see, I was actually Ubering somewhere, and saw 3 dentist offices next to each other in a row. I was like, what are the chances? I wasn't even sure if you could do that. Just given the fact that I know with some shopping centers, it's like you can have one pizza place, but not two. Like you're not going to see like a Papa John's and a Pizza Hut next to each other. Maybe you do in some places, but usually they're like catty corner, different shopping centers across the street, down the road, something like that, but rarely in the same place. Also had an experience where I went in to pick up an order from Subway, and this lady who worked there, the one person, instead of helping me, she chose to be on the phone out in the dining room at a table, like resetting a bank password. And it was long enough to where another couple came in and actually left because they were tired of not waiting for her. But, my whole thing is, it's not just for me, it's actually an Uber order. And then, of course, right when she's helping me, another person comes in and to pick up an Uber order. So that was, but by then she was already making them, so he didn't have to wait. But, it just kind of goes back to that help, like waitresses wearing AirPods. How about you just do your job? Do you need an AirPod? I mean, I can't concentrate with AirPods and do like something else. Provide good customer service and try to listen to a podcast or listen to some music or have a conversation on the phone. I mean, yeah, I don't think so. Unless the generations have evolved into better multitasking, I don't know. But yeah, good help is hard to find. Also, you got I watched a person pull out of an apartment parking lot as I'm driving down the road. Drive down the road with trash on their trunk that was supposed to go to a dumpster, and drove a mile down the highway and just let it fall off. So, yeah. Just kind of one of those be aware things. Pay attention. You're littering the city just because you're not paying attention. So, what have I written here? Squash jeans with jewels. Yeah, so that reference is if you're a guy and you're wearing jeans, how about just wear regular jeans? Not the Jersey Shore things with designs on the pockets and bedazzled buttons on the butt and snaps and all kinds of crazy stuff that looks like your wife or your girlfriend wants her jeans back. Those are not for dudes. I mean, cut it out. Especially wearing them with cowboy boots, even worse. Or some Hey Dudes with some Croakies and some Oakleys and maybe a fishing cap. Sounds like the people who wear those. Yeah, don't. Another one. Don't start up a 30-minute conversation on a 10-minute ride. I.e., let's say you're out with your lady, you're going to dinner, this may or may not have happened. Maybe the wait's too long at one place, so you're going to go to the next place, and it's 10-minute ride over there, and your significant other makes a phone call to someone else who she's going to be on the phone with for 30 minutes. So then you're sitting at the table, you want to order, they're still on the phone, you have to keep telling the waiter to come back or not, So, guy or girl, regardless of your gender, as it relates to being the significant other, just be mindful when you share your time with other people. Don't start a 30-minute conversation on a 10-minute ride. All right. Well, it looks like I'm going to end this one here. I have a few more topics, but I'm going to keep those saved. But I kind of just wanted to get something out. Like I said, kind of a special day. November 2nd, Dia de los Muertos. As we remember those, our loved ones, our families, our friends, everybody we want to remember. Be nice to other people. Love each other. Be kind. Live the way that you think those who've gone before us would want you to live. So, peace.